because of this AI and everything, and because it's like the uh, you know the movie that was sci-fi, Planet of the Apes, but that's what we're reverting back to, and that's my greatest fear for the generation now.
John Maruyama has plenty of concerns about artificial intelligence, from computers taking over to humans losing the ability to write and communicate.
I believe even with all this new generation of technology and everything, what we have lost is the ability to communicate and to come to a common ground. That is what AI is. What I'm afraid of AI, and because of that, I'm afraid that with that we're going to go back to something like Lord of the Flies, survival of the fittest.
John does his shopping and research online, so he's not against technology, but he worries it's amplifying conflict and tribalism.
That's why I say, when you say that the 1900s were worse, I say I feel sorrier for the kids of this generation than I do for the kids of the 1900s.
But artificial intelligence is also making scams more convincing than ever, and seniors are increasingly being targeted. Deepfake videos, cloned voices, fake investment websites, and realistic-looking documents can all be created in minutes, making it much harder to tell what's real and what's fake.
I have a hard time saying this because I'm a person that always wants to believe and wants to trust, but the reality is anything you see online, don't just trust it at face value.
Unison TV went to the Alberta Securities Commission to get some facts on AI scams.
It's made it much easier for scam artists to make their content and what they're marketing seem much more legitimate. So it takes them seconds, minutes, call it, worst case, like most amount of time, it takes them minutes to create a video that shows Mark Carney or another famous person that we all know about talking about this investment opportunity as though it's a real thing, adding legitimacy, adding the credibility of them and their title or them and their experience. And I'm not just picking on our prime minister. It could be anybody. It could be anybody that, like, even media folks, right? People that people see every day on the news that they trust, they bring into their homes every day, they listen to, and now they're using a video of this person and they've made it sound as though this person is marketing or positioning this investment opportunity as too good to miss. And right, we're all looking for ways to try to either build our nest egg or grow it a little bit, even through interest. Like, we're all trying to find ways, and seniors, just as much as just because they've earned money through their lifetime doesn't mean they don't want to see. They feel more comfortable when they've got a bigger nest egg and they've got more that they can work with, and some of our costs increase as we age. So you're looking for ways. So fraudsters play on those vulnerabilities. They prey on our trusting the people we trust. They prey on our ability to look at things and go, oh, this looks legitimate. This looks like it's something that I should pay attention to, particularly if this person that I trust or have heard about or believe in. I mean, it used to be stars, movie stars kind of thing, and that's fallen out of favor a bit more, but you never know. Now they're smart. They're targeting more the people we know here at home, right? The people in Alberta, the people in Canada. So they use AI technology to grab snippets to make it look more legitimate.
Talking about those little snippets, how easy has it become for criminals to clone somebody's voice?
Really easy. So easy. And that's the scary part. I mean, yes, technology certainly is enhancing how we do some things in life, right? It's making things more efficient, but it's unfortunately made it far too easy for people who are not good people to be doing things that harm us. And it takes seconds to spin up a website to make a company look legitimate and call it, something that will be eye-catching and eye-grabbing. And the other thing that people, we often forget is that scam artists, they practice being scam artists, right? So that's their full-time job is what can I do to look more legitimate, to make my material look more credible so that I'm trusted, so that I get in and I can, because oftentimes if they can get in and they can ask for, say, a $50 or $100 donation or a contribution investment, they'll give somebody a return. So they've built trust now, right? Now you've given me something and I've given you some return so that the next thing that people give is $1,000 or 500. It depends on what the stages are, but they're trying to get you in so that you give a little bit more and you invest a little bit more, and then once you've done, and because you see the potential, now you want to put a whole bunch more in, and this is where it harms many of us can probably handle $100 here or $100 there, but when we start to grow what we invest because of what technology, whether it's a website, whether it's an AI video, whether like a deep fake, or whether it's using somebody's voice that we know, maybe it's a grandchild, like a grandparent scam, maybe it's whatever they're using it as the hook to try to get you in, and trust gets built over time. Also with lots of pressure, right? The other thing that scam artists like to put is lots of pressure on us, right? Don't miss this chance. This is your chance. If you don't do it today, you'll miss this chance. Well, that our emotions kick in, and now we make a decision based on our emotions. So unfortunately, we get sucked in really quickly, and they're using their skills to prey upon us.
And going back to that voice business, can people often be lured into something because it's a familiar voice that someone captured over like a little snippet, say over social media?
Yes, a familiar voice. Maybe it's someone you know. Sometimes they use a familiar voice to hook you via like a phone call, right? Maybe they're using a family member's voice, they've been able to capture it, or maybe it's someone that you know locally. Maybe it's our mayor, maybe it's our premier, maybe it's our prime minister, but it's a voice that you know, it's a voice that you think you can trust, and so they pull you in. And then they use other tactics. Also with technology, websites can make things look more legitimate, right? So if they create a website and they make the returns look legitimate, right? So they create paperwork to look like it's real and that it's actually the investment that you put your money in is doing really well. Look at the returns, and they show documentation. And you would think it is legitimate. It doesn't matter what your education and what your background is. They purposely make it look that good so that you do keep putting money in. Or maybe you tell somebody about it. Maybe you've put all that you're going to put in, but you tell somebody you love about this cool opportunity, or you tell friends about it, and you're unknowingly getting those people you care about involved in something that you don't realize is a scam.
Yeah, I've heard about that as well. And you touched on this a bit, but can AI generate fake news stories or fake testimonials that can appear legit?
Yes. Yes, they're using anything that I myself was online. I can't remember what I was researching, but up popped a video, and it was a former prime minister at the time when he was still the prime minister. And I recognized the video they were using in this snapshot, in this thing, um, made it look like he was selling the investment opportunity. Get in now. This is a super cool thing. And I remember seeing that exact clip in a news story a few days earlier. So they just pulled what was available, publicly available, and turned it into a video that made it like basically forced our prime minister to be saying whatever they wanted him to say. So AI can do that for them.
Okay, obviously we know there's a lot of landmines, as you pointed out here. How can we tell real from not?
Oh, the so the hardest part, and this is, and I have a hard time saying this because I'm a person that always wants to believe and wants to trust, but the reality is anything you see online, don't don't just trust it at face value. Take take the step of, like, say for example, if you get a call and it says, and they say that they're the bank and the bank is looking for information, or some entity that you've done business with is looking for information. Don't disclose it. Don't take it at face value. Say, thank you very much. I've got to go. You hang up the phone or you stop the chat or whatever it is, and you take the steps to call the number like on the back of your credit card, or call the number that you know is a legitimate number for that enterprise, whether it's the bank, whether it's whoever it is you're interacting with. Because anything online, anything can be faked, can be AI generated. So it's taking the step, stopping the conversation. Don't give anything else. Don't give your personal information. Just stop it and do your own steps using what you know, like the phone number on the back of your card. It might take a bit more time, but it's worth the effort to say, hi, this is me calling, right? Whoever you are. And I got a phone call and it said it was the bank. Can you put me through? And they will usually put you through to whether it's the fraud department or whoever it is to tell you whether or not there was a call and that was somebody actually looking. Like if it was a legitimate phone call about something. So it's always the pause or the stop of the conversation so that you can take steps using information that you know is real because you've got it in other places. I don't trust anything anymore that I get via text or via, online, like social media, because oftentimes fraudsters will come out of the blue. They're unsolicited. So you're not expecting it. You're not expecting the call, you're not expecting the text or the social media message. But now they've reached out to you. And so what do? You just pause, say thanks very much. I'm going to look into this myself and I'll get back to you if I'm interested. So it's always the pause and doing your own check.
Okay, so what you're saying is don't or assume that um, nothing is real. Go in there with that kind of frame of mind.
Yes,
Stop and don't be pressured into anything.
that's right. Yes. And I know people say, oh my gosh, that just sounds so negative. But anything to do with your money, that's just the safest route, is just assume that anything can be a scam. So even if that makes you a bit more difficult, whoever you're dealing with, that's okay. That means your money is safer. You're keeping it more protected for your future. And so it's worth the extra effort. It's worth being maybe a little less agreeable and a little less
Mm.
easy, and just taking the steps to protect yourself.
Yeah, it's hard for me to even get those words out of my mouth when I was struggling with that. So just assume everything is fake, right?
Yes,
Because you don't want to
it is
fall into
true.
that whole fake news thing that we hear about, because there are the news that we hear on say television or trusted news sources is real, and we don't want people to confuse those with the things we see on social media.
That's right. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get caught in this. I recently read a statistic that 80% of what I see on Instagram when I'm scrolling, which I don't scroll often, but when I do, 80% of that is apparently AI generated and fake. So if that's the case in that, you can imagine what fraudsters can do when they're motivated to take money, because if they can take money from somebody, that's more money in their pocket, right? If they can convince you, then that's their business. Their full-time business is scamming you. So if we know that technology can work that easily in what I'm going to call more benign areas of our life, then we know that it's just as possible in areas that are of a high importance, like our money or our information, that sort of thing.
That's an excellent point, that these are full-time scammers. That's what they do. That's what they're practiced in. That's what they they know
Yes.
their trade, right?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
That's
Um,
exactly it. Yes.
so and going back to the testimonials, the fake testimonials question, um, should people even trust online reviews and testimonials about investments anymore?
No, no. I mean, if you have an advisor, not everybody does, and that's okay. But if you have an advisor, by all means, talk to an advisor about something you saw. Say, did you hear about this? Have you heard anything about it? Do you have any information about it? If you don't have an advisor, though, I always take the step of looking up information on either the company, right? Because they're usually saying XYZ Enterprises trying to build, you know, whatever they're trying to do. Take the actual steps of looking into that name, looking into the person that reached out to you. Anybody selling an investment in Canada needs to be registered to do so. So you can go to checkfirst.ca, our website, and you can look up company names, you can look up individual names, and you can see whether or not that person is actually registered to sell investments. Now, if they're not registered, don't trust them when they say, "Oh, I don't need to be," because there's lots of fraudsters that say that too. Said, "No, actually, thank you, but I'd rather deal with somebody that is registered." And the difference is if someone is registered, they have to follow the laws. They have to follow what's required, which means they're more diligent about the information they provide. It is a safer environment for you to do business. So anybody that says, "Oh, I don't need to be, don't worry about it," that's a huge red flag. Walk the other direction. Because even if something is a bit higher risk, if they're legitimately trying to sell it to you and they're meant to be in this business, they're registered to do so, that's still worthy of your checks and balances to make sure.
And with all the AI fakes out there, should families maybe establish a safe word or a code phrase that's if someone calls pretending to be a family member?
A great idea. Absolutely. Yes. Like, um, I've heard that. That's a great idea. Quite often they're looking for your personal information. So, um, if you talk to your family members, whether that's grandkids, kids, anybody you're close with, just establish what is our code word so that we know whether or not this is a real call, because we've heard of it too many times of people calling and pretending that they are, they're helping out a grandchild in need or something like that. So if you know and you establish that, and maybe you want to write it down somewhere, hard copy kind of near your phone, something like that, something that reminds you what it is, because let's face it, we all get busy, we get into our lives. So just do it in a way that remind each other to keep each other safe.
Right, maybe even with your financial advisor to know that these are the people that have this code, and I know you're legit if I get a call or a message from you. I can ask, what's the code?
And the other thing is, I don't know if you've talked with folks about this, but the banks and investment advisors, they can create a trusted contact person on your file. So this isn't someone that can do business for you. It's not somebody that represents you legally. It's just if an advisor or someone at the bank is worried about you because something seems off, either you're not communicating and you're not around, they can reach out to this person. It's somebody that you trust, somebody that knows you, somebody that knows whether you're on vacation or whether you're, maybe you're getting health care, right? And you're in the hospital for a period of time because you're getting care that you need. But this is somebody that someone in the bank can call and reach out to say, is Susan all right? Is everything okay? And that's another person, in addition to what you're talking about, a code word. It's just another way to keep yourself safe so that the people that you're doing business with, excuse me, they know who they can reach out to to find out, to make sure you're okay, and to make sure that everything is okay on your end.
That's a fantastic point. And what's the term for that person again?
Trusted contact person.
Okay.
So again, I want to emphasize, this is not somebody that has your legal authority to do anything, make decisions for you. It's just someone that you trust, that knows where you're at, knows if you're on vacation or you're in the hospital or something like that, that your advisor can contact if they're worried because they see something happening. Maybe it's something happening in your account. Maybe there's, a large withdrawal of cash or something like that. And they can reach out and say, hey, do you know if everything's okay? So, and it's somebody that can say, oh, I know she's been tied up, or she's, maybe she's away, or maybe it's just somebody that you can trust.
That's a great point for anyone of any age to
Mm-hmm.
have that
Mm-hmm. Very much.
someone on your side there.
Yes.
You've gone over some great points there, Hilary. Is there any simple habits that we can get in the habit of that can dramatically reduce our risk of being scammed through fakes?
I guess a bit, like we talked about, uh, there's so much that's fake online that my biggest habit now is not trusting anything I see online, right? If I seek out something, so if I'm doing my own research, I look up a company or I look up an individual, even that I have to take with, a grain of salt. Is what AI spitting out about that person real? Just always gut checking, like, does this seem real? And maybe checking a couple of extra sources of information, just always taking that step. Anything that is unsolicited, so you weren't expecting it, anything about finances, about your money, even if you're, online building a relationship with somebody, like because you'd want to meet somebody new, like dating apps or social kinds of apps. If it's somebody that you don't know, even if you're building a relationship with them, the best habit is just don't disclose information about yourself. Don't, like, particularly your money, your health, your pride, like the information that's most critical to you. I just would not share it until you're a long ways down the path with that individual, or you never share it, right? Because it's somebody that your spidey senses go off. They just seem way too intense about your money or your banking or your information. Anybody that's like that, I'd say, you know what? I think it's time to stop this communication and stop this conversation, because I just don't feel comfortable anymore. And you're entitled to do that. We're all entitled to do that.
That's excellent point to end it on. You are entitled to do that. You should not feel pressured to do anything, to give any money, to give any information, and of course to take your time. Those are
Right.
all awesome points, and I really appreciate this. I mean, in one sense, it's a kind of a sad state of affairs that we can't believe that anything is true online, but it also makes us better in terms of doing our own investigative role and not just accepting what's out
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And maybe this is why Kirby and Unison exist, so that we can go and we can actually build real true connections with people that we see every day, people that we get to interact, maybe not every day, maybe it's once a week, but it's real true legitimate relationships that we're building, as opposed to, trusting the online world, which is just too full of, unfortunately, people. And here's one thing I will add. A lot of times, I know a lot of people have said to me, but why is this happening? Why? Well, part of it is it's a global world. So there's people from other places in the world who, and this is part of what is a challenge for us as securities regulators. Oftentimes, if you've put your money in investment, it's actually gone. It's gone overseas. It's no longer in our jurisdiction, which means it's harder for us to get to. So it's not always the people that are in our own community doing this. Sometimes they're from many, many, many thousands of miles away, and their culture isn't the same as ours, and what they're focused on doing isn't the same, and or maybe they're caught in something that they don't want to be caught into. So it's just, let's find different ways to build connections and relationships. Let's go to Unison. Let's go to Kirby. Let's go to face-to-face places. That's
What
what,
a wonderful way to wrap it up on, is to have that face to face, right?
yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Hilary. I really appreciate this, and what a lovely note to end this on.
Thank you. Thanks
All
very
right.
much.